Sir, I would like to begin with, first of all, please kindly, let us understand why Bytebeam was formed and when you have formed it.
Mhm,
What is your current
mhm.
mission and
So, initial idea of Bytebeam came to Gautam, who's one of the co-founders. He was leading the software division at Ather, and he was setting up the complete software backend for the smart electric vehicles that Ather was building. And while building that, he realized that there are a lot of challenges when it comes to putting together the smart backend or the IoT backend. And after leaving Ather, he was actually consulting with a few automotive companies again to put up their software roadmap. And the realization was that this is a universal problem, and a good backend
yeah.
for automotive applications will be required. But when we looked around for solutions, there were no good solutions that were existing. So that is where the idea of Bytebeam came into being, wherein we thought about it and we evaluated the various solutions and realized that there is definitely a gap for a good backend to make it easier for companies to develop smart vehicles or any kind of smart appliance or any kind of smart device, basically smart product. So this is where the genesis of Bytebeam came into being and all. What was your other question?
And what is your current mission and vision?
Yeah, so our current mission and vision is very simple. I think every product, every device around us will become smart. And what I mean by smart is it will be able to communicate with the user and it will be able to take some decisions on its own. There will be various algorithms and AIs which will help the devices or the products of the future to take some contextual decisions on their own. So now with this inevitability, we are very certain that this will happen in next 5 to 10 years. And Bytebeam wants to be the enabler in that journey, wherein we help companies build smart products, smart vehicles, smart devices with a lot of ease.
So, when you explain why Bytebeam was formed, what the question comes to my mind is, we went through a very rough phase in the last 2 years since the COVID-19
Mhm,
pandemic. Prior to that,
mhm.
the business strategies were different for various firms, and later on, the strategies have started changing. So, how your business strategies have changed over the years, and if you can also kind of like to highlight any of the success stories, if you kind of
Yeah, yeah,
highlight how it has helped the industry to grow.
yes. In a lot of ways, this COVID pandemic has been actually helpful for the IoT industry. The reason being that people realized that there are limitations when it comes to people's movement, or there were various issues. People were facing health problems, and there were lockdowns and all those things. So, in that sense, it has greatly helped us because now the whole industry or everyone understand the importance of monitoring their products, monitoring their devices, monitoring their factories. It could be anything, but the whole idea of automating and monitoring the products or the devices or even the factory as a whole has become a mainstream with this pandemic. And companies are actually trying to automate a lot of their operations in that sense. So in that way, the receptiveness of IoT, which was considered still a futuristic technology, what COVID has done is it has fast processed the adoption of this whole technology, and in that sense it has been very helpful. And what this has also led to is a lot of product innovation which is happening. For example, during the COVID pandemic, a lot of people again realized that simply ordering from Swiggy was also not an option.
Hmm.
And that is where there's one of the company which we are also working with, appliance, that came into being, wherein they were assisting people to cook good meals. Again, it was like a assisted cooking use case. But the
Okay.
idea was that people shouldn't have to eat boring food. They should be eating interesting food with the help of technology.
Yeah.
So this is again like, and that's one of the success stories for us as well, because we are working very closely with Appliance. We are powering their backend, and the way it helps is it's a very smart cooking device which has like multiple operations, like cooking, chopping the vehicle, chopping the vegetables, cutting, dicing, all those things, and then cooking, giving cooking instructions. So and then the whole cooking jar is a self-cleaning jar. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that this kind of product innovation, it would have happened. It is not like this would not have happened, but it would have taken some time. But the receptiveness to all this innovation has been adopted in a big way, and a lot of innovative companies are coming. So yeah, so that I think mostly we see that COVID pandemic, of course, the impact on the human lives and human like the restrictions on humans was bad, but largely it has shifted to when it comes to technology, it has shifted in technology in a good way, is how we see it.
Okay, so you have highlighted a lot of
Yeah.
technology innovation. Also you gave us a glimpse how IoT has been evolving in India and around the world. So the question comes to my mind is, again, going back to the last 2 years, how the IoT industry
Mhm.
has changed, if you would like to highlight. And then,
Yes.
if there are additional obstacles and impediments, that needs to
Mhm.
be have a solution. So if you can also highlight some additional challenges the industry is still facing and how Bytebeam as a company is tackling those challenges.
Yes. Yes. So one more change which has happened in 2, 3 years is the whole approach to product development also. People are expecting to do a lot more of agile product development. And one shift which is coming when it comes to new product development, and a lot of that is happening in India right now, is that people are iterating on their products while building the product. Like they are not waiting for launches, and the whole cycles have become shortened and a lot more iterative in that sense. So, which is where again IoT adds a lot of value because you are able to collect data in real time. You are able to do launches, limited launches, and you actually are able to see what is happening on the product or whatever you have launched. So that you don't have to wait for customer interviews. You don't have to wait for customer feedback or market feedback to improvise or iterate. So that is another good thing which has happened, and that also is a shift which I'm noticing a lot. Also, a lot of hardware startups are now coming out of India. Like I think we are very well aware that last 25, 30 years, it was a software-driven era where India emerged as a big software hub. What I am noticing now is that there are a lot of interesting, innovative hardware and product companies which are now being built out of India, which is there as an undercurrent right now. But in another 2, 3 years, you will see a wave of hardware startups and companies coming out of India. So this is another thing. Similarly, like for example, in automotive also, with company like Ather and Ola, and that whole approach to two-way vehicles has become very smart, and a vehicle should be a lot more than just a medium to transport people or goods. It has become it is interacting with people in a lot of ways. There are fleet management use cases. There are use cases like remotely debugging issues on the vehicles. So again, this whole change is coming up. Uh, One of the challenge which I still see in this industry is that a lot of companies in the automotive space are still looking at this technology as or IoT is still restricted to tracking the product or the vehicle uh, or the device. And what is happening is that people are yet to comprehend the changes which IoT can truly unlock. And while there are like in fringes, people are discovering different use cases, different companies are coming up with their own use cases of IoT. But there is a lack of a holistic thinking when it comes to IoT. And like I said, that people are still thinking of IoT just in terms of a mere tracking and locating your devices. But IoT is a lot more beyond that. It is not just about tracking the devices, it is about monitoring the health of the devices. It is about proactively knowing what issues can come up on a vehicle or a device or anything, right? So that holistic thinking is lacking right now in IoT. Once that holistic thinking comes, I think that is when a lot of people will adopt IoT the right way. And because because there is a lot of influx and it's a new technology, we see a lot of restricted solutions which are there in the market, and again which sort of helps a company get started quickly, but they are like a lot of aspects are not thought through in the long run. For example, security is one aspect which people are not actively thinking about right now, or there are no good solutions. Like, what if a device gets hacked? What if the information is leaked? How do you maintain the whole privacy aspect? How do you maintain the scale? And the scale is both in terms of, let's say, when millions of devices are IoT enabled. So one scale is in terms of the devices itself, like so many devices are there. The other challenge is now all these devices are sending data. So there is this data handling challenge. Like, you will have not like GBs of data, it will be TBs of data, terabytes of data. And each company will have a terabyte of data backup, which they will require. Now, how will they manage all that? So a lot of these things are right now not being looked at, and these will pose its own challenges. And as we go along, I think people are discovering that the maturity is coming, and obviously people are also looking for solutions. But these are some of the areas which will have to be ironed out probably in next 2 3 years.
So when you speak, when you have given a detailed explanation about the industry and the challenges, uh, what I'm
Hmm.
interested is a comparison of growth in globally. So the question is,
Hmm.
uh, when you see India, where do you see the growth of IoT compared to other advanced countries? And what the country needs to do to boost its growth. So do you have any expectation also from the government?
Government, I think government is already doing a lot in terms of pushing the startups. I think government should continue to focus on innovation and should try to support innovation as much as possible. And the whole Make in India initiative and startup initiatives of government are actually in the right direction. So the hope and the expectation from the government is to create a lot more ecosystem for fostering the whole innovation part. Help startups like and I think government is already doing a good job of encouraging it, but some more, execution help would also be useful, because there's a lot of talent across India. People are trying to do a lot of things. A lot of interesting use cases are coming out, which were probably unimaginable 10 years back, and those are happening in tier two, tier three cities of India as well. And the products that these people are coming up, sometimes it is unthinkable for, let's say, a person who's living in a tier one city, that what those kind of products are even possible. So that the whole innovation is now distributed. So in a way, the government will also have to focus a lot more on distributing the benefits of their initiatives, benefits of the whole Make in India and all. How does it percolate at different levels? How does it distribute in not just in tier one and tier two cities, but beyond that? So that is the sort of focus which we want from government. I think government is already aware of it, and they are doing a lot of steps in that direction. Also, another thing which I'm now noticing, and which which is sort of not expected, but a lot of product or innovation which is happening in India is actually top notch. It is no longer that India is copying the Western models, or the products that are being done in India are no longer based on some Western product. People are actually applying a lot of first principles thinking. They are actually seeing problems on the ground, and in that sense, a lot of fresh graduates, a lot of young people are very hands on and very very approachable of the problem. Like, they understand the problem a lot better, and they are coming up with first principle solutions to those problems. So a lot of products which we are, or at least I'm noticing now in India, they don't have a lot of precedents in the West. And like I was saying, that the undercurrents are very big right now, and in another 3 4 years, I think these a lot of these companies will mature, and you will realize that some of the products that India is now building are actually one level above than what is existing in the West. And in that sense, again, when it comes to IoT products, because India already has a good software understanding ecosystem, which is already there. Indians are very comfortable with software. The hardware products with IoT enabled infrastructure, they are already quite mature when you compare them with the Western examples. So for example, like even in automotive, obviously Tesla was a leader when it came to sort of a IoT enabled vehicle, smart vehicle. But with Ather, India has already taken a big leap when it comes to two-wheelers. And the whole electric and the IoT transition on the automotive two-wheeler front has been a lot more faster and a lot more top-notch at the base of the pyramid in a way, rather than at the generally you see innovation happening in high-priced products or high end of the market. But
Hmm.
here the innovation is actually happening more on the two-wheeler front, which is very mass market already in India. So this is where I'm seeing, like, I think India is not no longer copying the West. The summary is that India is already creating its own original products, which are top-notch quality, top-notch in terms of technology. Even drones, another example, good example is drones. Like the whole innovation in drones is not coming from, let's say, government jobs, especially the defense drones also. It is startups which are coming up with various use cases. Similarly, in agri-tech, there is a lot happening on precision agri-tech. So yeah, so that is what my take is. So the ecosystem in India is already getting mature very fast, and I think in another 5 years it will probably be beyond what we see around us in the Western countries or more developed economies. Does that answer your question? Does that
Yeah,
help?
yeah. So, so now keeping aside the industry, I would like to know something about Bytebeam.
Mhm.
What are the various kind of services and solutions you are currently offering to the industry? And if you'd like to speak any one of your, solutions or services which you think is actually a game changer in the industry.
Yeah. So with Bytebeam, like I was saying, our mission is to provide a complete IoT backend to make it very simple, easy, and fast for companies to start building their smart products. With that mission, what we have done is we have created the whole backend from scratch. So instead of putting together different solutions or stitching a bunch of other solutions, we have developed the whole technology in-house, keeping in mind the IoT use case and the applications of the future. Now, how that helps is that when it comes to, let's say, any technology, right now, because if the technology was retrofitted for something else, people will need to do a lot of customizations to make that technology work for their use case. But with Bytebeam, let's say you are building a smart vehicle, you don't have to do a lot of customizations to fit that technology. You can actually get started in probably 3 to 4 weeks time frame. So the whole, and we have done this with a company where we have been able to do the integration in 3 to 4 weeks. So the game changer here is that how fast you can get this up and running. That is one of the biggest game changer. And when it comes to what products that we are offering, specifically in when it comes to the backend, there are more nuances to that backend. For example, we are offering complete device management dashboard. Then there is the complete data management and data visualization dashboard, where it is where we help people to visualize their data coming from their different devices. It could also be a fleet management dashboard where, let's say, you have different vehicles or fleets running across the town or across the state. You can monitor them. And then we also have features like remote diagnostics. You can remotely not only know what kind of issues are happening, we send alerts to the company, but we also help you remotely log into the product, or it could be a vehicle in this sense. And you can log into the vehicle and actually try to fix certain issues via over-the-air updates. So over-the-air updates is another feature which we are offering. Yeah, so these are some of the features, and then we are also working on some of the next generation of features. For example, analytics, we know there's a regular analytics which a lot of companies are working on, but we are working on the streaming analytics. Now, how streaming analytics helps is when you are gathering data from a device, there are different streams of data which are coming. For example, a vehicle is a complex ecosystem. A vehicle will have, let's say, the location data, odometer data, different sensors like pressure sensor, tire pressure, all that data. Then you will have battery data. Then you will have speed and different kind of driving data, driver analysis. Now, let's say if something has gone wrong and you want to understand, then there is a lot of data which someone has to skim through.
Yeah.
What we are doing is we are implementing a streaming analytics solution where you can stream data in more real time, and you
Hmm.
can join streams of data which are in specific intervals. And how that helps is that if in case of any issues, in case of debugging, the whole process becomes very faster. Plus, it helps you save a lot on data cost. It helps you save a lot on speed of the system. All those advantages are there. So like this new features are also being added. We are also doing a lot of changes on the firmware. We are compatible already with Linux, Android, and microcontroller based devices. We are adding support for more devices, more different kind of devices, so that again people are able to get started quickly. So these are some of the features. We also have our own Make in India hardware. So let's say you want to connect the device, you want to connect your product to the internet, and you need a device interface in between. So we are building that device as well, and it's a completely designed and prototyped by us, and we are building this in India. So it's again one of those few Make in India hardware which we are providing. And it's top technology. Again, it's 4G enabled. Right now, there are like hardly one or two companies in the market who are providing a 4G enabled hardware at scale. There are, of course, various prototypes which are there, but at scale, 4G enabled hardware is not there. So we have launched that in the market and we are supplying it. So yeah, these are some of the products and features that we have.
So you are doing a lot of initiatives under Make in India scheme. Then that's really stupendous. Okay. So,
Yeah.
my next question in this aspect is, currently who are your potential clients and which are the verticals you are actually offering your services and solutions? Number one. Number two, what are the changes you are expecting in the IoT industry in the coming few years? And what are the promising technologies you'd like to witness in this industry globally?
Got it. So first of all, we are working mostly in the automotive vertical. We have other verticals as well, but automotive is where we have a big presence. There are a bunch of reasons for that. One is automotive vertical has been a lot more upfront in adopting IoT, especially with Ather leading the mark of a smart vehicle. Like all the companies which have followed, they are really thinking of a smart vehicle. So in that sense, automotive has adopted the technology in a big way, and that is one vertical. Another reason we have an affinity for automotive is because we also come from that background. All four of us, the co-founders, we have been with the Ather and we have been with various companies which have been in similar segments. So that background also helps us relate with the industry better, and the industry is also able to see the solutions. We understand that better. So, like that is one of the reason we have a strong presence in the automotive vertical. We are working with almost 15, 16 companies in the automotive verticals right now. Outside of automotive, we are also working with companies in smart home appliances. So that is another vertical which we are working on. Then we have a couple of companies into energy monitoring. It could be grid monitoring or it could be meters, smart meters. So we are working in that domain. We are also working on sort of building energy monitoring intersection of that use case. So these are some of the verticals which we have a presence. Overall, we are working with almost 20 plus companies right now. The ecosystem for automotive is of course a lot more mature also, and there's a lot of funding also there, so which helps people to adopt new technologies much faster. So that part is strong in India right now. But like I was saying, the smart appliances is another vertical which is coming up very strong in India.
Yeah.
Agri-tech is another vertical which is coming up very strong in India. Then you have drones as a vertical. Drones, like the number of startups in drones that I discover almost every day is like amazing. I get surprised that how come so many people are building drones and they're doing it so well and successfully. So there are these 4 5 verticals which are very prominent. Yeah, so this is where we are. In terms of like new trends and all, again, I think automotive industry will be transformed in another 3 4 years is for sure. Right now, you're already seeing electric vehicles which are coming up in two-wheelers. There are already four-wheelers also which are coming up with their electric variants. I think all this will definitely become mainstream. What is not happening is the commercial vehicles are right now not that electric penetration is not much. But there are again some big changes happening on the commercial vehicle front, wherein the whole vehicle, like the way a vehicle is going to be operated, is going to change dramatically.
Yeah.
For example, there is already self-driving cars and self-driving trucks which people are working on. there are also driver assistance and driver monitoring, which people have started doing. So once that starts happening, you will see that the trucks will become a lot more efficient. They will probably run a lot more on a route. And they will also monitor the condition. For example, you're using a truck for transporting vegetables. You can actually monitor the conditions of like temperature, moisture, so that your produce is not spoiled. So this whole segment is going to go through a transformation, and in another 4 years, 5 years down the line, it will be I don't think you will imagine a vehicle which is not sending a data. Like there'll be a lot more monitoring and all those things. So this is happening. Similarly, your appliances will get smart. Every appliance around you, like even the bulb which is there right now, that
Yeah.
is going to be capable of, yeah. So I think those changes will happen across, no matter what product you are using. Assume that in another 5 years, this will be completely changed. Yeah. So
So
you had one more question around this. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what are the changes you'd like to see globally, in global perspective? What are the emerging technologies you'd like to see?
Yeah. Yeah. So globally, I think one another trend which is driving this IoT adoption is people are thinking energy efficiency a lot. There's a lot of effort to save the environment. So a lot of solar technology, again, that will require a lot of IoT. Then
Yeah.
climate technology, various things will come which will require a lot of IoT. And these are some of the big trends which are happening more in, let's say, Europe and US, where there is a lot of focus on climate tech. And I think one thing which is not as much apparent in India when you compare it with other verticals is climate tech. And that is where you will see that in US the climate tech ecosystem is very active. And climate tech will make a use of IoT a lot. And through monitoring, through AI, through various algorithms, you will realize that everything will become a lot more efficient. So again, which will be a way to save environment. So that is another thing. Second thing is the factories and everything. There's a lot of wastage which happens in a factory. It could be power wastage, or it could be productivity. It could be materials. It could be monitoring the different components of a product. So again, this is where IoT will again touch, and it will make sure that the whole building is becoming efficient. The machinery is operating at a maximum efficiency. The person will go and then he will fix that machine. So there is a lot of downtime, and there could be days when the machine is not operating. Now that is a huge cost also for a company. With IoT, what will happen is all these things, the data will go immediately. You can immediately see the health of the vehicle, what went wrong, to the extent that you can maybe predict that the way this particular machine may go, there could be a fault which may develop in this machine. And we are again already seeing these examples wherein a system is able to predict the failure of a machine much before the actual failure is happening. Right. So this will save a lot of time and efficiency, and it will drive a lot of cost benefits for the companies. So this is another big change which I'm anticipating. Climate tech, efficiency of the manufacturing industry, and then solar. So these kind of technologies will actually become a global trend.
Okay. So my final question to you is, what is your roadmap in the coming 5 years?
Yeah. So our roadmap in the coming 5 years is that we want to become the default platform for anyone who's trying to build a smart IoT application. We should make our platform so much flexible and so much easy to integrate. It should be a self-serve platform wherein anyone can come and start building on Bytebeam, and they should be able to set up the whole backend within, let's say, a couple of weeks. So that is the goal with which we are working towards. As we do this, I think there are various steps, but I think in 4 to 5 years, we will become the default platform for anyone who's building this kind of application. And we want to power a lot of verticals. Like automotive, we have a good presence, but we want to go beyond automotive to appliances, to climate tech in a big way. So that's largely the roadmap and largely the vision that we are working with. In one line, if I have to say that we should become the AWS for IoT.